Hey guys, welcome back to our podcast. We are on the line, and today we are going to bring an episode to you all about apartment hunting. We've all lived in a few apartments so far, so I think we got some good advice about how to go about looking for a place, the budget and amenities you should be looking at, what to look at when you actually go on a apartment viewing, and maybe some advice on if you're moving somewhere that you don't actually live in right now. We're not dummies. We know a little bit. And today I got your first non dummy, Steven.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Across from me, we have Jun.
What's up, guys? And our host is Crystal.
Yep. And now we will just get right into it. We are now on the line. All right, guys. So we're going to actually start it with a couple horror stories about apartment hunting, moving into apartment and being, mediocre in our apartment hunting choices. Anybody got anything?
So I have an apartment story. I don't know if I would call it a horror story. And we're actually going to talk about moving to places you haven't seen or lived by. And this was kind of one of those aftermaths of that. So something that I didn't really check out or really look to see is for the heating and also the AC. The problem is at New York apartments. If you live in New York, or if you watch TV shows in New York, like the apartment building is like a long hallway down. That's just how all the apartments work. It's just one super long hallway, and mine was all the way at the back end of the apartment. And so with the AC and the heat it would go through the central heating system, but by the time it got all the way down the hallway, whatever the heat or the cooling, by the time it got there, it just dissipated and nothing came out.
Oh,
And
no.
so my room was basically whatever temperature it was outside was what my room was. And so it'd be freezing in the winter, and it
Oh
was
my
also
God.
just so hot in the summer.
Oh my God.
So wait, Jen, did you have to buy like a fan or like you just were sweating?
So for the summer, it'd be like, yeah, I had like this old fan that I would try on, and it just doesn't do it for me. It just doesn't actually make anything cool. You'd have to like install a unit, but my window, it adds to another thing that I didn't really think about, but like the window was a fire escape, so you can't put an AC unit there because you have to escape through that window if a fire
Oh.
happened. And so it was like, nope, you can't do anything. You can just try your best to live. And then for me, like, although it's bitter cold sometimes, I like the cold enough to where I actually prefer it like that. So it was more so the heat that really just didn't work out very well.
Yeah, that kind of leads into our horror story because our apartment that previous to this one, we also didn't have central air or heating. Oh no, you had central air heating, but it just didn't get to you. Ours didn't have central air heating, so we had to get like an air conditioner, like a window unit, and the issue was we didn't measure any of our windows, so we had to put it in our bedroom window. So the air con was just like blowing in our faces all night. So either we were super hot or we had like frostbite. And then also that same window unit became a home to a pigeon.
Our AC unit like extended ever so slightly above like the windowsill, so the pigeon would go under that AC unit and say if it was like raining or something, and end up turning it into a home. And we heard it like nesting in there. It was just sitting there like for
The whole day.
for like hours on end. This thing wouldn't shut up.
I
Every
was
so often.
I was so mad. I could not stand it when I was sleeping, so I'd bang the window and it would stop purring. And then after 15 minutes, I'm like, oh my God. And it's so gross because you're like, oh, there's like a pigeon out there.
Literally,
Yeah, I
under the
remember
side of the
that.
window.
Aren't you guys
So
able to see it from like because you had like a place where you went to throw away your trash, right?
Yeah,
And you
so
could
like our
kind of see.
back door, you like walk out, and literally the AC unit's like right to your left. And so we'd look, and that pigeon just be staring at us dead-eyed, and I'm like, oh my
I
God.
would run.
I guess they're taking the trash out to the front.
Another apartment horror story was we were looking for an apartment. It was the best one we've seen in all of our viewings. And we were just so excited, like finally something that looks good. But one, we were so excited that we were blinded to a bunch of stuff that was wrong. Like the floors were lopsided. And we didn't realize until we were moving in and Jun's chapstick or something fell on the floor and it just started rolling
Roll.
across the room. And we're like, wait, are the floors crooked? And then to our dismay, we realized we couldn't even afford the apartment, which we're going to help you guys figure out what you can actually afford later. But we
That
were
was
like
horrible.
4 months behind on rent. And don't do that to yourself, guys.
Please do not. That was a horrible way to live.
Well, those were a couple of our apartment horror stories. And today we're going to talk about a few ways you guys can avoid situations like that. I guess we're going to start off with, in general, when you're apartment hunting, the first thing you need to do is looking for a place. So, how do we find a place to look for, or even potential places that you guys can visit and view to see if it's the one? So, where do you guys typically go first if you need to move and you need to find a place?
For me, definitely, I use via the internet. Easy Street. People use Zillow, apartments.com. These things they're really good at finding a place at a base level. You could do it sort of by how many bedrooms you need, price, and also you get some of those like tags where it's like, oh, this place has, an elevator. This place has whatever things you got. So you can just do a very good base level and see what's out there and then what neighborhood. And you can kind of see like pricings varying per neighborhood and you can see what you want to get. With all these different websites and stuff, it's like, some agencies or third parties or whatever, real estate agencies, like they'll use a specific one. So if you search on apartments.com, that's not all the places that are available. Those are just the ones that are available that are listed on apartments.com. So definitely use different sites because you can see different places that you might not have seen on the other sites.
Yeah, I've used apartment.com. Zellow's really good. So I usually go to a bunch of places like you said. Like don't commit to one search engine of looking for stuff. You check everywhere cuz there could be a place that's in only one, and you also notice that some places are listed on all of them. You could find those unicorns if you just search in different places. One place that I definitely go to look for one-off places, because apartment.com and like Zillow, those are like super official, but there's sometimes landlords that don't know how to get on there or don't want to pay to get on there. So what's free is Craigslist. So I like to go to Craigslist and even Facebook Marketplace. So those are kind of not traditional places to find an apartment, but you can find some good places on there. That's where we found our current apartment, Facebook Marketplace.
Really? That's cool
Yeah.
because when I hear Craigslist and Facebook, I just immediately think of like a horror story. It's like, oh, we got it off Craigslist, and then turns out there's no roof.
You have to vet it out. It's definitely a little bit more scary, and it's a little wishy-washy, a little iffy, but you have to vet it out. That's why you got to go visit. You got to make sure these people are real. uh but there's some good places. I think I've found like 2 apartments on Craigslist, or like one apartment, and then I've also found like a couch that was actually like brand new.
I know like one of the more traditional ways to like find an apartment is to basically look for like a real estate agency or some realtors in the area that you see, and then just like give them a call. Similar to the Google filters or filters on these websites, you kind of just tell them what your price range is, the area that you want to live in, and kind of what you prefer to have. And these like realtors will help you kind of like find areas in the neighborhood or like places like apartments that would fit your criteria. The only thing that I've found when I use like agencies is that you kind of get like the full spectrum of apartments. So it's like you can get really old buildings or you can get really new, like renovated buildings. And that's kind of like something that the travel agencies just have access. Like they have access to all types of apartments. So like it's a little more beneficial to tell them what you want specifically versus just telling them like, oh, I want an apartment for X amount of money and I want there to be in unit laundry. They'll kind of just give you a wide, range of apartments, and it's kind of like up to you to hone in on what you want versus, these internet websites. You can kind of just filter it out as you move along. It's just a little more of a process when you contact those agencies, those realtors, but they do have access to some apartments, some listings that, may not be listed on the internet. Say there are some private listings strictly found through these realtor companies, which is, obviously to your advantage. So that's a good tool. Just basically calling a realtor and seeing what they have available, because like I said, they might have something that is exclusive to their company and it won't be listed on literally any other apartment like listing site.
I think like we've done that, like doing realtors, but instead of like actually going to like a realtor company or like searching up realtors, we'll be like on Zillow, and the person that we scheduled the viewing with was a realtor. And then after we went to that first viewing, they'd be like, "Well, what are you looking for?" And then he became our realtor after that.
Mm.
So we would like go to that viewing from Zillow. We set up one appointment, and then the person who was showing us that apartment is a realtor. And we were like, we didn't really like this place. And he's like, well, what did you not like about it? What are you looking for? And then he's like, well, let me look through my listings. And then he would like send us stuff through email. So if you don't want to like just look for a realtor, you can just like go on Zillow or apartment.com and at like whoever that person that's helping you look at the viewing could be a realtor, and you could use them as well.
What's the cost of a realtor type thing? Because I know for me,
Free
the reason why I don't
99.
even look at it, I don't even look at that as an option because I'm like, okay, so these people do that for a job, so obviously that means I have to somehow pay them. So like, well, I could just search stuff myself. So like, what the cost and like what more do they bring to the table so for just looking up yourself?
Well, all the realtors that I've y- done or like worked with are all free because they don't get paid by you. They get paid by the landlord or the property company that owns the buildings. So they get a commission from the building manager or the landlords if they rent the apartment out. So they pretty much are working with whoever owns the properties, and then they get nothing from us. So they do all the legwork, and they're just hoping you choose one of the apartments they show you so they can get that commission. Don't be afraid to use a realtor. It's actually free 99.
No, yeah, like Crystal said, when we've worked with agents in the past, they'll ask us for feedback on the apartments that we had just viewed, and then they'll even just on the top of their head say, "Oh, this is available. That kind of fits what you're looking for," or they'll just for whatever reason like have other listings on top of their mind. Basically, just bring it to the front, and like we wouldn't have known about it otherwise. So contacting them and then seeing that first apartment opened up like 3 or 4 more potential listings that we ended up going to see. And then we actually found our last apartment that way too. We contacted an agent. We seen an apartment. We didn't really particularly like that one. We saw 2 or 3 more, and then that third apartment ended up being our home for 4 years. They also have access to listings, like I said, and then even they'll give you instant feedback, and if it's available, you can go ahead and see it on that same day if you were gonna go see an apartment already.
Yep, yep. And the only other thing that we didn't mention yet, so we talked about all these things. You pretty much start online, but if you want to go more of a traditional route, and you live where you want to move or like in the area, you can just drive to the neighborhoods that you potentially would love to live in, and or walk around, and you can look for rent signs, cuz people still put for rent signs. outside their buildings, and they put like even the price, how many bedrooms, how many bath, and you can call the number. They usually put a number or an email, and you can reach out to them for a viewing. That's actually how I found one of my apartments when I was in college. Me and my roommate, or the roommate that I wanted to live with, we just walked around neighborhoods looking for rent signs because sometimes landlords are old school. They don't know how to put things online, and the only way they could do it is with a for rent sign. Even though it is a little more work, it's nice because you can walk around and see like what's in the neighborhood. Is the place walkable? Is public transportation close? So there's also benefits by just like walking around neighborhoods or driving around.
Yeah, you definitely get a nice, probably a better sense of the area if you happen upon it, especially if you live around that neighborhood looking for rent signs. You kind of got that feel for it. And maybe you're not even going out to look for rent signs, but you can, note the time. This
Yep.
is for rent place. And then eventually, if you do end up moving, you can kind of remember that area.
Definitely check out the different sites that we said. Do not stick with just one. Make sure you go through a couple different venues so you make sure you get everything in the land. So, after you find a place to look, what do you actually look for? So, we mentioned like you should put in your budget, you should put in like what you want, like how many bedrooms, how many bath. How do you actually like know what to look for? The general rule that you shouldn't spend more than 30% of your monthly income on rent. So I think that's kind of across the board, and landlords, if you're like applying to their apartment, they'll typically look at your income and make sure you're not spending more than 30% of your income. That's kind of how they know that you can actually afford the place. Take a look at your paychecks, make sure your monthly income, only look for apartments that's about 30% of that income. And if you have a roommate, make sure you both can contribute at least 15% of your income. And you have to think about everything else that you need to pay for. So, electric, water, gas, your bills, or like your student loans. Make sure you account for groceries and stuff so that you can pay rent, and then you can actually do other things too.
Man, I feel like I haven't even haven't ever looked at that. It's just like, do I meet the qualifications for this place? Then okay, good. It's usually like
Sure.
what I see is like, is it what 40 times your 40 times your income or something like that,
I think maybe it is.
right?
Rent times 40 should be your yearly income.
40 times, and then that's it. But maybe that is what equals out to
30%.
30%,
30%,
Maybe
40, 30.
something like
around
Those
that.
there.
those numbers are close.
I say budget is like the main thing. Like when you're on those search engines looking at for rent signs, your budget should be the most important. You don't want to like I mean, you could look
I
and
mean, you
see like
guys have done
what's
it
out
not think
there.
caring about budget. That worked out pretty
Oh
good.
no. It did not. You have to
You
make sure
wanna
you can pay for the place.
It has to be your what you make now, not your future income.
Income. I might get this job.
Trust me. Trust me, I'm about to get promoted.
What a rough time.
Yeah,
So
we signed that apartment thinking that we can afford it, which we could up until we actually had to go up and get some groceries, pay for our other bills, and like I had to commute 45 minutes, so I didn't account for gas either. It was horrible.
that was like our
Yeah.
first apartment together, so we've learned quite a bit since then.
We also all live like around a city, like a metropolitan area. So it's something with budget that you kind of got to play around with. If you live in the city is like, the closer you get to the heart of the city, the more it's going to be. So you just kind of have to play with that role of like, okay, so technically, the poorer you are, the farther you have to drive to get places. That's just how it's going to have to be. So as soon as you start going outside the city limits, as far as location, then you can still have certain things like amenities that you want, but you'll be slightly further away. So you kind of got to weigh those options as far as budgeting. It's like, you want to stay in your budget, but you can play with like that fraction. You can play with that scale. It's like, oh, I want all these things, but like if I were to have all those things in the city, it's gonna cost me so much more versus if I have all those things and I'm like an hour away.
Yeah.
Play with those numbers to kind of fit your budget.
Yeah, I would say location matters a ton because if the location is your number one thing, like you really want to live downtown, then you're gonna have to make some sacrifices. You're gonna live in a studio. You're probably gonna live in something that's not really that updated. But if location doesn't really matter that much, then if you want to live in a neighboring neighborhood, you could probably get a one bedroom and it's probably updated. It really depends. Look at the different neighborhoods in your city that you're moving into if you're moving to a city and you can kind of Google like most affordable neighborhood in New York City to live in and then go from there.
None of them. That's the answer, though.
Oh
None of
no.
them.
What I was going to bring up is that, it really also depends on if you're planning on living with a roommate. Having someone or a few someones to split that rent cost with you can make, those things that you want in an apartment a little more achievable. Obviously, if you want to live in the middle of Chicago downtown for like a 2-bedroom apartment, you're going to pay thousands of dollars by yourself. But if you were to split that with one or two other people, you can make it work. So it all depends also on who you're planning on living with. I know people are looking for, just one-off roommates. So, those things are accessible to a lot of different people. You can find apartments, all over the place looking for roommates to split that rent cost and all the other costs that come with living in an apartment. It is, something that you should consider. If, say, you want to look for an apartment, either find someone to live with to make that place a little more affordable, or see if these areas have people, looking for roommates.
Yeah, and if you're like in college, there's like Facebook groups that say like class of 20 whatever 2022, and you can usually go in there and be like, "Hey, I'm looking for a roommate." So then you're living with people who are going to your school. I think some of my friends did that. If you're going to school and you want to live with people in your college, you can always go onto that Facebook group or
I mean, even through college
Craigslist.
services on an,
not Craigslist.
and I'm sure they have like housing opportunities for, students. They'll usually have listings of, people who are looking for a roommate who are students, on that campus. So, that's also something that you can look into if you're a student.
And just to quote Kevin Hart, stay in your financial lane. If I remember this happened at U of I, like the people were talking about moving to an apartment, but some of these kids get pretty rich and they're like, "This is a perfect place. We could all split $2,000, right?" And you're like, yeah, no." So it's one of those things. Stay in your financial lane. Your roommate should be right around willing to pay for what you want to pay for. If there's a huge discrepancy, it might just not work.
The other thing I wanted to say, so like myself, my preference, like what really matters to me is like a kitchen and a bathroom that is like more updated. I don't really like that old timey feel. I don't know about you guys, but for some reason, I've lived in places where the bathroom and kitchen are like so old looking that no matter how many times you clean it, it feels dirty. Like no matter how many times you dust it, every crevice, it just feels dirty, which is like not horrible, but I just like that more updated or even just like slightly updated. So when I'm like looking on these search engine apartment search engines, I put in the keywords updated or renovated or upgraded. So those are like the three words that I usually like to look for. Updated, upgraded, or renovated. And that will help you narrow down the search to a little bit more renovated areas. And don't let it scare you because you can still find places in your budget that have those keywords or
You
that
gotta go a little
definitely
further away from the
yeah.
city center to get those ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like in New York, it's definitely like one of those things where like if like you'll search apartments and it'll be like parquet floors, and you're like, well, this place hasn't been renovated forever. Probably
Oh
thousands of people
no.
have died in this apartment. It's just one of those old looking houses. I guess
Cozy,
another
vintage.
question that I kind of have is there something that you guys like? Because Crystal mentioned the kitchen and the bathroom need to be upgraded. Are there any like amenities are like must-haves, or is there any amenities that you feel like before in your past that you were like, this is a must-have, that now you're like, not really. It doesn't. I don't really need that anymore.
Must have is in unit apartment laundry because
Oh,
before I was like, nah, we could live without it. And we would literally drive to our parents' house an hour away every 2 weeks to do laundry.
oh
But
my god.
wow, this is amazing. We got in unit laundry. We could do laundry every single day, every minute.
I don't know if I can live without having my laundry like in the unit anymore. That was such a struggle. We would sit at my parents' house for like
A
the
whole
entire
day.
weekend because we're just hoarding our laundry at our apartment.
So, I mean, that's definitely something you can like do a trade off. Like your budget isn't that bad. There's usually places that have like shared laundry in the basement, which isn't great, but that's something that I definitely want moving forward. How about you?
I feel like
Uh,
what must have is I need to have AC. Heating
Oh,
can go out the window. I don't really care, but I have to have AC. And nowadays, internet is like a must have. Like I have to have a certain amount of internet that I can get. I've slowly made my room like a smart room. And so like when there's days where like the internet goes out, there's no lights in my room. So
oh
internet is
no.
so important to the overall well-being of my mental state. I need to have that stuff, and then I has to have AC. I can't just be hot in the summer. So put on a fan. No, I can't do that anymore. I did it once by accident, but I ain't doing it again.
Yeah, that's definitely a must have. I think central air too. That's a good one. Central air is a must have for sure.
I feel like something that I've grown to really need is parking. We've lived
Yeah.
in two other apartments where parking wasn't easily accessible. We'd have to kind of look for parking and then walk to our apartment. I'm over that. I need to park right in front or in a garage. Like we use our car so often that we're always in and out of the house. And like if we can't park like right away, right in front, it's such a chore. And it's something that I feel like is unnecessary and I need to live with parking on site.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
also
That
time too. Like the amount of time you use up trying to find
Oh
parking
my
sometimes,
goodness.
it's just, however much, you can weigh that. The time that you lose versus how much it costs a month.
Take my money. Take it all. I do not want to drive around for 2 hours because there's a Cubs game and I live in Wrigleyville. No, thank you.
Literally.
So those must-haves are kind of like a prelude to what I'm about to say, which is, as far as budgeting, you kind of have to find out what are your must-haves and what are just simply luxuries. Sure, I would love to have an elevator, but to be honest, I can walk upstairs just fine. It's not a deal breaker. So one of those things you kind of just have to pick what you need. Do you need the gigabit internet? Yes, for some people. Or do you just want, regular internet and it just brings the cost down? Do you need the do you need the parking garage, or do you just need outside side street parking? There's different levels of things too. So just what you must have for your amenities and what is a luxury. So just figure out what those are.
Now that you guys know where to look and you know what to look for in terms of budget and amenities, what happens when you guys find the places you want to view and you actually have to go to viewings? What do you actually need to look for at these viewings? What do you need to make sure is checked off in terms of like a list when you're actually going in person and looking at these apartments?
Does the place exist? Is that is this an actual place? I don't know. Like, there's simple things like you just want to spot check like what you see or what you were promised in the pictures or what video or whatever. Is that all actually there, or did they sprinkle some lies? And then if you check out a room and it's like so much smaller than what you thought it was, or say it's like in a different location, then maybe the pictures were from a different apartment. So, definitely take a peek at like what you've been promised and what is actually there.
Yeah, you want to make sure that, you're the apartment that you're looking at is in the right area. Like Jen said, it's basically according to the listing and that the listing is accurate. You want to make sure that the room that you're going to be living in is in the actual room that you saw online and talked about. You also want to make sure, that this area is habitable. We don't have any drug addicts or crime going on the
Oh
front
no.
doorsteps. It's something that, is a red flag. You want to look out for these red flags. You want to make sure that, this place can be a place where you can live. Like Jen said, when you walk into the room, you want to make sure the dimensions of the room can fit, your current lifestyle. If you're going to be working from home and you have a desk, you want to make sure that these places can fit your desk. You want to make sure that they have high speed internet. They want to make sure that they fit, all the other furniture that you might want or have in this apartment. Not even to mention, you want to have the resources around that apartment for you to live there comfortably. You want your grocery stores nearby. You want to have any kind of like late night corner stores open if you have any kind of emergencies, preferably near like a hospital or something in case, some tragic event were to happen. Obviously, it's not a priority to live near, a police station, a hospital, things like that. But you want to at least take note of where those things are in relation to where you are, because, you can't take anything off the table. So you just want to at least set yourself up in the event that something were to happen. You need those things that they are nearby.
Yeah, so when you're like going to your appointment, maybe show up 15 minutes or 20 minutes before that appointment so you can like drive around the neighborhood, listen to things, maybe look at what's in the neighborhood so that you can make sure like at least the neighborhood is good before you actually even take into account what the apartment looks like.
I feel like what's really telling when I go into a neighborhood that I'm not familiar with is if I go into a store and then I see all the people either wearing masks or I see everyone not wearing masks. I feel like that's a huge tell in like what kind of environment that I'm in for whatever
That's
reason.
a recent thing. That's like recently.
I mean, but hey, it's something that I've noticed in different neighborhoods. A lot of people, listen to a lot of different things and they live their way in different ways.
Yeah,
They
not
live
just
their
the
life in
area, but
different
the
ways.
people around the area. That's the people you wanna kind of see.
It's a good sign if you see like a mom with a stroller. Seems like a safe neighborhood. Steven mentioned this earlier, like about furniture fitting. My tip is when you go to these viewings is you bring a tape measure so that you can measure the rooms to make sure you can like fit your bed in there, make sure you can fit your couch in there. If you have furniture already, maybe you should like make a note in your phone or something and write down like my bed is this big, my couch that I have is this big. And if you don't have any furniture yet, just measure the spaces so that if you do end up choosing that place, you can plan for the furniture that you're going to put in there. And then also think about where the apartment is in the building. Is it easy to move in and out? Is there an elevator to bring your stuff up? Is there a staircase? In our like last apartment, the hallways were so small that moving in and out was so hard. I mean, you only have to do it once moving in and then once moving out, but might be something to think about.
Like one of the biggest headaches trying to fit like our couch and our bed through the front door or through the back door. It was horrible.
Take the feet off. No, you gotta take the cushions off. You gotta turn
Yeah.
it this way.
Tilt it, turn it,
Pivot.
listen to
Pivot.
me.
That's how you know if you and your roommate are gonna actually survive living together is if you guys
So
can move a
maybe-
couch into your apartment.
Maybe you do want really narrow hallways then. What a time to realize that you're not the right fit.
Yeah.
You're like in the process of moving stuff in. Oh man,
And it's just an argument to leave a lasting impression forever.
we're cooked. How long's the lease? 1 year. Ah! Something that I do with apartments and like any type of moving situation when you're looking at a place in person is I like to do like an outlet check. Obviously, electronics is a huge part of things that I do. So I need an outlet. I'm like, I like to do 75%, as 3 of the walls out of the 4 walls has gotta have an outlet. And, obviously, it depends on what kind of stuff you're doing. 50% is probably a good margin. I think no one should be going to a place and there's only 1 outlet on the wall, and then you have to go to a different room to get another outlet. Um, so definitely I like to do 50 or 75% rule on outlets on walls. If 3 of the walls have an outlet, then you know what? That's not a bad place to be in. Not at all.
Yeah, you taught us that. So when we were looking for apartments, like that's I always look like where the outlets at because it really also determines like where things can go. Like if you're in your living room
Definitely.
and there's only outlets on one side, like the TV has to go there. Like you can't just put the couch there and then you have to run a cable across the room to put the TV. So paying attention to outlets is very important.
Also, along with that is what I've kind of learned throughout the years is where is the internet access point? Because, when people put an internet into your apartment, especially in old New York where things are we can only do it this way because otherwise we got to tear the whole building down. So it's like, where is the port? Where's the router? And what I've learned is I have to have 200 feet worth of cables and Ethernet to run all the way across the up doors, down doors, through hallways, and all this stuff to go to the place. So the closer you are to the port, or how far you are to the port, is something that you should kind of know of where that route is going to be, because there's things that are going to need internet in some place that you might not be able to get internet to, or you might not be able to run hardline. You have to do Wi-Fi. So definitely know where your internet ports are.
Yeah, I feel like those two things are just like the standard of living. Shows you like the time that we're in. Like we have so many electronic devices that need to be plugged in, and obviously, we incorporate so much of the internet in our life that we need to have, stronger connection, faster internet, and that's kind of just how people need to live. It's like a luxury that has become just the new base. So like Crystal said, when we moved into this apartment, we immediately walked in and started pointing at all the outlets on the walls just to make our checks. So I mean, it's not too far fetched to ask for 50 or even 75% of the walls having outlets, because I feel like, again, it has to do with positioning. If you have furniture, going where you want to go, it needs to be in the spots where, it's outlet friendly, because you don't want to be covering 2 out of the 3 walls, just with
Oh,
furniture
that one's
alone.
gone.
Yeah. So,
It's like the
it's
side
these
of
are
your
the things
bed.
that
Oh
these are the
no.
things that you need to consider. You're just like going to be you're pinning one of the outlets up to, your couch, and it's like, you can't really use it. So look for the outlets, make sure you know where the internet is going to be going, because, even if it is at the end of the hallway, by the time that Wi-Fi gets to you, in the living room or something, it's completely gone. So I mean, these are some things that we have run into, through personal experience in the past. So, you don't want to be running 500-foot cables throughout your apartment. So yeah, make sure you
Sometimes
have,
you have to, though.
but yeah, unless you have to, I mean, yeah, that's something that's like a kind of a give and take. If you have strong internet, but it's just on the other side of the apartment, run 1,000-foot cable. Yeah, these are the things that you want to look into to make sure, when you go to see the apartment, that these things work in your favor.
If you're less tech savvy and you don't need that many friggin' plugs like these guys and you don't have everything run by Google Assistant like John, then more basic requirement for me when I go look at apartments is the water pressure. Cause nothing worse than showering and there's like just a little sprinkle. So when you go to the apartment, go to the sink, turn it on. How's the water pressure? Go to the shower, turn it on. How's the water pressure? You know, those are basic things you're going to need every day. Washing your hands, washing the dishes, going to take a shower. You should be checking for the water pressure because that's just like a basic need that is going to annoy you if it's not good. So definitely check the water pressure when you're looking at apartments. And then a couple other things you just need to ask the realtor or the landlord, whoever's showing you. They might not have the question right then and there, but it's something that they could follow up on for you, but a few questions. Number one, ask about what the lease is. Like, is it a yearly lease? Is it monthly? Is it more than a year? Ask about, do they request a security deposit versus a moving fee? So a security deposit is basically they'll ask for typically a full month's rent for a security deposit. So when you move in, you have to pay like 2 months rent, and one of them just goes as security deposit. You may or may not get it back at the end of the year if you kept your apartment nice, versus a move-in fee, which is typically like $200 to $500 depending on where you're living, and you don't get that back. But some people would prefer a move-in fee over a security deposit if you don't have that much money up front, because it's typically way less than a security deposit. So ask about that. And then also ask if there is on-site building maintenance or like on-site emergency maintenance or a property manager, because if anything goes wrong, like the electricity goes out or something's wrong with your plumbing, or I don't know, something's just not working, how fast are they going to get to you? Like like the ceiling came down. How long does it take for them to come fix it?
Evidently, it takes about 3 months.
Oh
Oh
no.
my
Did it actually?
goodness.
It
Jen
took a
actually had
long
the
time.
ceiling come down on him. What
Yeah.
was it? Just like a leak in the
The people
apartment
from
above you?
above, yeah, I guess they like just had a bunch of water. There's just too much water up here. Let's give it to them. And so the roof caved in the kitchen area,
Oh
and
my
it took
goodness.
like 3 months for them to actually patch that up.
So it's definitely an important thing to make sure that somebody is going to be able to react fast to if anything goes wrong. So if your landlord is like remote and they actually live in Florida and you're in like Minnesota, that's probably not good. So definitely ask those things when you're going to visit the apartment. So say you're moving into a city or a town that you don't currently live in, and you can't go visit these places in person, or you like have a weekend that you're going to go and you have a very limited time to look at apartments. How do you go about that? Like if you're going to college in a completely different state, how do you guys have any advice for those people?
I think it's been slightly easier. As weird as it sounds, COVID has made it a lot easier for something like this, because now every apartment showing place or like things, they have good photos to start with. They actually put videos up now, and there's also like the thing is like a 3D room tour where you could like put yourself into the apartment. And you could look just like around 3D in the space. So as weird as it sounds, COVID has made it better for this type of situation. So you could get a real good feel of the apartment that you're going to move into with these resources, virtual tours, and the 3D mapping and floor plans of these rooms. Those are super clutch when you aren't able to physically go to the place to check it out.
Yeah, I think I've noticed on Zillow there's more like links to videos where people just like walk through it. That is a good come out of COVID situation.
How do they handle the reflections? I feel like there's videos where people are like, I don't
They're
want to
just
be
like
in
in
this,
there.
and then there's people that are just like, hi. And then they go
Straight up
by.
in it.
I think it's
They
so
get to
funny to
the
see how they
the
differentiate.
bathroom mirror.
What I've seen people do in those bathroom mirror pics is they kind of just like back up as if it's taking less of their body in it.
Virtual tours and 3D viewings are definitely helpful, but if you can, like if you're making a big move, maybe schedule a time where you go for like a weekend if you have money and the time to do it, because sometimes, seeing it in person is going to be a lot different than online pictures and videos. So if you can do it, obviously not everyone has the ability to do so. So it's not required, but I would still recommend it. Like maybe do a weekend and you look at like 30 apartments in that weekend.
Another resource that you can use is like, I mean, obviously, if you don't live there and you could see it all throughout the internet. Like Jen said, COVID really streamlined a lot of these services where they have videos and photos. But say where you're looking at doesn't have it all available. What you could do is go to the other apartment finder websites that you've used in the past and look up that same apartment. See if they have any other resources that you can use to get more information on that apartment. They might even have the owner direct that you can contact, and then you might even have an email conversation with them so you can get direct reports from the owner themselves as to what the apartment looks like or is like, that you wouldn't have answers to if you just went through the apartment listing site that you found it on. So definitely still use your internet resources even though you found that apartment already. Try to see if you can contact someone who is who has access to that apartment or that building, because they would have firsthand experience as to what that apartment looks like.
Yeah, and you can like ask them like, "Hey, is it possible to like I'm out of town, I'm moving in from out of state. Are you able to record a video of the listing so that I can check it out?" Like if there's no viewing, I mean if there's no video online, you can totally ask that.
I've asked for them to FaceTime me, like, oh, can you just FaceTime me, go to the
Oh,
place and FaceTime me? And so they go
that's a
through,
good
they're like,
plan.
"Oh, here's the FaceTime," and then they like punch in there, do the lock stuff, and then they go in and they show it. That's one of those things that you'll know for sure if you FaceTime somebody. It won't be like an old video that's not updated, or it's gonna be very
Yeah.
recent stuff because it's there. It's the FaceTime. And also, what you want to do is fact check those photos. What agencies will do is they'll put the same photos of the same room for all these different things. So if you look at like other postings by said whoever, and you look at these other rooms, if it's the same photos, you just got stock photos. Like it's not really what you're gonna be getting, or you don't really know if that's the exact place. So definitely fact check those photos, because if they have it for everything that's listed in the apartment building, although they might be similar, they're not always gonna be the same.
I feel like we've ran into apartments where we go and we have this impression of what this apartment's going to look like. And then when we get there, things are like all over the place. The layout of the apartment's different. It's really similar to what we saw online. We saw that there wasn't really any need for it to be brought up. But I mean, some of the bigger things that were concerning was just like the bathroom would be past the master's bedroom. So like the community bathroom is in my bedroom, which is something that I feel like isn't really disclosed in like stock layouts because it's kind of odd. I mean, it might be okay if you're living on your own, but like my closet, my bathroom would be not in a common area, but like past the master's bedroom. So that I'd have to walk through there to get there. Stock layouts of apartments can be misleading in that sense. Having accurate pictures is something that, other people can help you find if you have those resources. But make sure that when you get there, it is factual to what you had seen online.
Yeah, that's why I think floor plans are so nice. I like it's like not every place, every listing is gonna have it, but some of them will have like that bird's eye where it says like the dimensions of the room and like the layout of the room, and those floor plans are so nice to have.
Well, if you're moving somewhere not where you're currently living, you're going to have to do a little bit more research. You're going to have to ask the realtors or the landlords a couple more questions. You're going to maybe have to ask them, do FaceTime, but don't feel like it's a nuisance, right? Because you're the one who's going to ultimately be living there. So don't be afraid to ask people for more pictures, for more videos, to FaceTime. You'll be in a better spot once you get there. All right, guys. Now that we talked about apartment hunting basics, where do you guys look, what to look for, and what to look for when you actually go visit the apartment. Now we're just gonna do some would you rather. I got some would you rather questions in terms of apartments, and Jun and Steven are gonna let us know what's more important to them. I'm gonna say typically people are like going in the city. So my first one is, would you rather live in a skyrise flat in the middle of downtown
Yes.
or live in a three flat building that's like in a surrounding neighborhood, like a more quiet neighborhood, but you don't need to take an elevator. You just have like a three flat. You only have less neighbors.
I'll take the three flat.
in a surrounding neighborhood.
Can we do
Yeah,
a
definitely.
FaceTime tour of the place?
I
I mean, for me, like it depends on the sizing. Like if it's like a smaller, like if it's way smaller for that one floor versus like a 3-story brownstone, I might pick the brownstone. But initially, I'll take the skyrise building because usually when you have that is you have really decked out amenities. There's gonna be a floor with a basketball court. There's gonna be a floor with a gym. There's gonna be a floor. Like there's not all those floors are not dedicated for people living, so there's gonna have some sweet amenities.
think in this point in my life, I think back in the day, I would want to do a skyrise flat, but I think now that I just like more quiet, I think I would go for the neighborhood families, more families, less singles. All right, next question. Would you rather live close to public transportation, so like a 3 to 5 minute walk,
Yes.
but there's not a lot of restaurants? Like there's like barely any restaurants, or
Mm,
you have a lot of restaurants, a lot of places, convenience stores, but transportation's like a 15-minute walk.
I'm taking the transportation. Transportation because I would either meal prep or a DoorDash will pick it up for me sometime. So, I'm going to go with the public transportation because I feel like I'll go to work or have to leave and go somewhere every single day. I won't always have to go out and eat at a restaurant.
I feel like I would also take the transportation. I feel like that's something that I can utilize, like Jen said, on a daily basis versus utilizing those restaurants on a daily basis. I mean, I might end up doing that. I might end up doing it. But, that also cuts into my cost when I'm paying for rent, just adds another expense to it. So, in the grand scheme of things, if I did want to go somewhere, I have the luxury of having transportation right next to me. If I wanted to eat something, it might not be there, but how often would I pick one of those restaurants anyways? Especially if I
guess
live there,
also
I've
if, like, you have a
probably
car,
exhausted
right?
those menus.
If you
Yeah, I
have,
was
like, a
gonna
car,
say
then maybe you pick the restaurants because you don't really need the transportation. But for
I
me, transportation.
I'm a more of a car person. I drive everywhere, so I might go for the
The
restaurants. I'm gonna
Culvers,
go with the restaurants.
the Portillo's across the
Yeah.
street.
But I mean, like, if
If you said
transportation isn't limited
Portillo's,
to like, if that transportation isn't limited to like public transportation, and say transportation equals like the highway 5 minutes away from me,
No, public
Public.
transportation.
public transportation. So I have no use for this.
It depends
It
on your
depends on your
lifestyle.
lifestyle
There's
and
no
where you're
wrong
at.
answer.
If transportation equals like I'm living 5 minutes away from O'Hare on the Blue Line, I don't really consider that to be transportation because I'd still have to travel 45 minutes to get to the loop. Just in that sense, I'd pick restaurants.
Would you rather have in-unit laundry or parking spot? This is okay. All these questions we keep talking about, it depends on your lifestyle, your personal choice at this very moment of your life. Okay?
Okay.
Your personal choice at this point in your life. In-unit laundry or parking spot?
here's the stipulation with that one. How far is the laundromat from me? That how far is the laundromat if I don't have in unit? Is it in building? Is that the reciprocal, or is it like I have to go to laundromat 5 blocks away?
Let's make it like 2 blocks.
Why does that sound so far?
2 blocks away.
I mean, to be honest, I lived like before my laundromat was right across the street, and that was still difficult. And then that closed down, and now I have to go like 5 blocks down the street around the
Oh
way.
my goodness.
So I don't know. I think I might still go with parking. Now that I have a car, I mean, like
yeah.
I gotta put it somewhere. I gotta put it somewhere, and
I'm
it's so
going
much
with
harder to find parking than it is for me to drop off my laundry. I don't do the laundry. I drop it off to the people so they can do it.
Yeah, I probably would pick parking spot.
I'll take the parking spot.
Because if I'm having a long day, I don't want to drive for 2 hours.
Just traumatized this one.
All right. This one's a little more fun. Would you rather have in-building fitness center
Yes.
or a rooftop with a pool and a barbecuing space?
Is it like a very good gym, or is it like a hotel
Like a
gym?
standard. Yeah.
A 2 by
Like
2
standard
A hotel
standard
gym?
fitness center.
I'll
Yeah.
take the pool and barbecue because I'm not gonna
Okay.
use that gym. It just doesn't
Okay.
have enough.
Well, what if they have like the weightlifting?
If it was everything, like if it was
Uh,
like what, like say like above a Platinum Fitness into what, if you guys know, like a Blink Fitness. If it was like a Blink Fitness, then yes. If it was like, even if it was bigger and it was like Planet Fitness, no, because it doesn't have what I
Yeah.
need.
Yeah,
So,
I'm
but
gonna
if,
go. It's like gonna be like very similar to like a Platinum Fitness, but like obviously smaller.
okay, so then I will take the pool and the barbecue.
I think I'll take the pool and the barbecue because I have somewhere to escape. If it's not at the gym and the gym's not going to have what I need, I know a spot for barbecuing, a spot to go relax at a pool is what I need. So I'll take that.
I'd go with the pool too. I ain't gonna work out.
If it was like a
No, I
4-star
wouldn't take
gym, I'll take it.
All right, this is similar. Would you have a building? You can only use this if you live in the building, a basketball court, or you would have like a walking, jogging, bicycle path.
Basketball court.
Basketball court.
Easy. You can
I
walk
have
and
no
jog in
use for
there.
a
I mean,
path.
yeah.
You can
that's
walk and
easy.
jog in there, baby.
I would choose the walk jog path.
What? I can walk in my
I ain't playing
apartment.
basketball.
Like an outdoor or inside the building?
Outdoor. Like it's nice. There's like a nice like
Nice.
tree line. Maybe it's by like the lake. A nice bicycle
Yeah,
walking
basketball.
path.
Easy. Easy
Yeah,
choice.
easy.
Easy choice.
No contest.
Would you rather live on the 4th floor, no elevator, or have
Already
a
do that.
noisy neighbor?
Already do that. It's New York. What about
A
both?
really noisy neighbor. Which one? I picked the noisy neighbor. Freaking walking up 4 flights every day.
I'll take the noisy neighbor.
I might do I might just do the
Huh.
I might just do the steps, because you know, if you live in like very like New York style apartments where everything's so close and sometimes walls are kind of paper thin, there's some racket and noises that you guys will know what I'm talking about. You just don't want to hear. You just don't want to hear at a certain time, okay? You know, it's like it's noon. Why is this happening at noon? Shouldn't you both be at work? And so I'll take the climb up 4 flights.
Yikes.
I don't know. Oh, that's hard.
I'll take the noise. I can make my own noise as well.
Yeah, maybe I'll take the noise too.
I can
Okay.
listen to music all day.
Would you rather have a doorman or extra storage space somewhere in the building? Like a whole like room for extra storage. Or a doorman who can, it's like a extra security. They can take all your packages when you're not there. They can give you an extra key if you're locked out.
Doorman.
Doorman.
Really?
I don't need extra
Easy.
space. I think it's a
Yeah.
good way to
I
limit
do.
what you have, is if you don't have the extra space. And also, if I do put stuff in there, I'm never gonna touch that stuff, and I could pretty much live without it at that point.
Hence our
And then
storage.
the doorman, I get me my packages. I don't want to have
Yeah.
to think about it. If I get a
What's up,
laptop
Earl?
delivered to my place, I don't want to have to rush home to get it.
Right.
Yeah. Or like get Jenny's ice cream delivered from you and then you have to go to freaking Walgreens.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my
But then they
God.
will notice. They'll be like, "Oh, McDonald's again? Hey, mind the
All
business,
Ubers,
doorman."
all the Uber Eats. I would personally go for the extra storage space because I decorate a lot for the holidays. So having somewhere to put my Christmas decorations, my fall and my Halloween, I would like that.
I would end
Okay.
up just stacking all those decorations year round, all around my apartment. Never take
Oh,
them
no.
down. I don't have anywhere to put them.
All right. Let's go with, would you rather have an apartment that has a lot of windows and natural light, so very airy, a lot of natural light, or not that many windows, not that much natural light, but it has nice recessed lighting all around the apartment and it's all dimmable.
What's recess
All
lighting?
around the apartment.
The lights are like in the wall, so you don't have any light
In the
fixtures.
ceiling?
It's just in the
Mm.
ceiling.
I'll take the windows. I'll take the natural light because I can always just put a lamp, couple lamps, 2, 3, 4 lamps, and be
I
like,
see
"Hey
that.
Google."
Yeah, I think I'd also go. I like a
I'll
lot
do
of
that.
windows. Feels better.
I fit with that rationale. I'm taking the natural light,
Me too. Especially if you like plants better as well.
especially if you like nature.
Would you rather visitor parking spaces available for all of your visitors
Mm.
or like a community room rental? Like you can like rent out a community room where you can have like friends over or like parties or have like spaces for your visitors to park.
Parking
Parking.
spaces.
Yeah.
People could just hang out in my apartment. I don't need to rent out.
Yeah, I think so. I think that
Freaking-
makes sense.
That sounds more of a hassle than not having parking.
I like the community room, but I probably would still go for the visitor part. Would you rather have an updated kitchen and bathroom or central air heating?
Ooh!
Yikes.
Yo!
You like have a kind of like an old kitchen, old bathroom, but you have central air and heat? an
How
updated
long
kitchen
is
and
the
bathroom.
lease? How long is the
1 year.
lease?
1 year.
When do I get that promotion? I'm gonna go with the AC and heat, and you might say, "Oh, you could just buy oscillating heaters and coolers." Trust me, it ain't that good. I tried them. It ain't that good. Okay, so I'm gonna go with the AC and heat that is in the building, ready to go, and hopefully I get to move out soon.
I'm also gonna go with the central air and heat. I can live with, not liking my bathroom kitchen situation. I could just dress it up in my mind however I want to do it, but I can't, it's not out of sight, out of mind with AC and heating. If I'm uncomfortable in those conditions, I'm uncomfortable for who knows how long. So I'm taking the AC central heat.
I think I'm gonna go against the grain. I have like OCD, and I'm disgusted when my kitchen and bathroom are old and like feel dirty. I'm gonna go with updated kitchen and bathroom, and somehow figure out a way for nice window units and
That's
space
like
heaters.
that's like a double down because your kitchen's gonna be nicer, so you're gonna want to be in the kitchen. You're gonna use the kitchen, which means the oven's coming on and the stove's
Yeah.
coming on. Now it's even
Oh,
hotter.
I have to do it. I have to do it.
That was us in our last apartment.
You're
Had to
gonna
open the
cook 'cause
door
it
when
sucks.
you use the open the door when you use the oven.
Yeah, we'd have like visitors over in the summer. We're like, oh, we could just like make something in the oven. We're like, wait, no, because then the whole apartment is gonna be so hot. So we might as well just order food. Last one. Would you guys rather have in building maintenance, like they're 24 hours, they're there on the spot if anything goes wrong, or on floor trash chute? Has a chute for recycling, has a chute for trash. So you just walk out the door, throw your trash in the chute.
That's
and
pretty
you're good.
nice.
Or
I've never thought of that, but that'd
in
be really
building
nice.
maintenance, you have to wait a little bit longer for someone to fix your stuff. I don't know. What if your toilet is clogged?
I'll just throw it down
Say
the chute.
Say something's wrong with the chute and it's clogged up and it smells.
But you throw trash away more often than you need somebody. I'm gonna pick the trash chute.
I'm gonna pick the trash chute.
I'm gonna go with the
Maintenance?
like a good neighbor. State Farm is there. I want Chris Paul to pop up immediately as soon as I need it. There's the ceiling's gone. Can we please fix this today? One of those things.
What's
Trash
going
chute
on
is a
here,
luxury
people?
I've never lived with. I feel like it's like first class. If you've flown first class, all you want to do is fly first class. But I've never flown first class, so I don't need. So I can live without it. So I'll go with I'll take the 24-hour on site.
All right. So that concludes our Would You Rather. Let us know if
Let's
there's something you guys
go.
really disagree with. But I hope you guys got some good advice on apartment hunting today. We told you guys where you can go to search for a place, what you need to do and look for when you actually look for places you want to visit. and then what you need to look for when you actually visit those places, and a couple things that would be useful if you're moving out of state or in a different town. So I hope you guys learned a little bit. Let us know if we helped you out in your apartment situation. I know people are starting to move around this time. So good luck with apartment hunting. I hope you guys find your dream place. Bye.
And if you like content like that and want more content like that, please like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification button at the bottom. You can hit us on our social media at We Are On The Line. And until next time, now what button do I press?
Did I do that?